journalist is on the attack against a YouTuber for daring to share leaked Slack messages from Blizzard internally. Leaked Slack messages that show just how unhinged some of these employees are that are being employed over at Activision Blizzard to let the customers know what they're dealing with and who they're buying from. But of course, the games journalist media mafia is going to take the side of them because that's how they work. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. This game journal attacking Yellow Flash, running defense for leaked, unhinged messages from the Blizzard internal Slack message posts, is actually the perfect example for exactly what's transpiring right now during the so-called Gamergate 2 and how the journalists continue to run defense for people in not just games media, but the game industry itself. They are in collusion to protect each other, and gamers and YouTubers don't have a problem calling it out. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article talking about how Yellow Flash is now being attacked by a games journalist because he shared Slack messages that were shared with him via an insider to get the word out about just how crazed some of these lunatics being employed at these game companies really are. The world of gaming journalism somehow continues its incredibly rapid descent into the abyss of ideological protectionism. And the latest example here comes from Bryant Francis, the senior editor at Game Developer. His recent article, and I will show it on the screen here while I'm talking, is titled, "It Looks Like Someone at Activision is Leaking Slack Screenshots to Right-Wing X-Users." And it's nothing more than a desperate attempt to try and spin the very justified scrutiny occurring right now into victimhood, all while shielding the ridiculous actions of Activision Blizzard's DEI-driven agenda from any form of criticism whatsoever. And it's something that they're getting used to. Who knows about the relationships behind the scenes and why somebody would dare run defense for the stuff that I'm going to be showing you here? But they're doing it because that's all they know, is to protect their own, to the point of their own failure. Francis's piece tries and fails miserably, I might add, to frame internal leaks from Activision's Slack channel as some sort of nefarious right-wing harassment campaign. Where have we seen those accusations before? But what actually is happening here is far more basic. These deranged employees are being exposed for their own horrific words and actions out there in the open for all to see. The leaked messages, first highlighted by friend of the channel, YouTuber Yellow Flash, revealed that the certain Activision Blizzard employees aren't merely discussing DEI initiatives, but instead actively working diligently to silence opposition, push their own divisive ideology, and leverage internal systems to benefit certain groups over others. And it's how these people have operated for the better part of the past decade or more. And now that it's coming to light, they are scattering like cockroaches when you turn the lights on. Rather than acknowledging the problematic nature of these discussions going on behind the scenes, Francis and his Journo Mafia ilk immediately pivot to the conversation of portraying these leaks as some sort of attack on marginalized employees. And I'm not gonna lie, that line of thinking is an impressive reach, even for a game journalist. At this point, they gotta be typing those words wondering, is this even believable? What he conveniently ignores through all of this is that these discussions were happening on a corporate communication platform where all employees should have expected some level of oversight and accountability. If their views were so noble and righteous, why are they so terrified of transparency? What do they have to hide? It's like this message getting out there should be a problem because, oh wait, they know it's actually a problem. The message that's been spoken of before plenty of times by YouTubers was from Stephanie Peters, someone employed over at Activision Blizzard, stating, "Can anyone in HR explain to me why we chose Workforce as our HR platform? As a former partner services employee and current platform security threat investigator analyst for the game company, I don't feel secure allowing my data on this platform. With the direction of the current political climate and platforms like Meta monopolizing citizen data, I'm genuinely concerned for the safety of our employees, especially our transgender and immigrants in America employees who have requested name changes through this system and have had their visa status there. Given the speech Trump gave today and Elon's Nazi salutes, I need something from the company that emphasizes that our employees are safe and what is being done about the protection of our data, which, holy crap, I'm not even going to try to dissect that because this would be an hour-long video, but take that for what it's worth. This is the post that leaked that the Journo Mafia is now deciding to run defense for. Francis echoes some hysterical concerns from an Activision QA tester, Sam Hudson, that the leaks have now somehow made it dangerous to be a trans or an immigrant at Activision. Hudson claims that these leaks have doxed employees, but of course conveniently fails to acknowledge that the leaked messages show employees actively trying to weaponize company policies and HR systems to push their own ideologies. Rules for me, not for thee isn't just a saying, it's a mantra for these types of people. The fact that Activision is being scrutinized for its DEI efforts isn't harassment in the slightest. It's accountability. They can try and bend what the words mean to however they want, but in doing so, they continue to lose the trust from the public, and more importantly, the gamers. In general, the people with wallets that open them up and buy the games, they should probably not try to piss off their own audience. I don't know why this is such a hard concept, but we continue to have to relearn it. In regards to the more recent leak that came out from Kyle on his Facebook page, Hypnotic posted on Twitter saying, "This is why you guys lose and will continue to lose. People see right through your games and your lies. You just lied here by omission and not stating the real reason why Kyle got so much hate from his Facebook activities. It wasn't because he liked some post on Facebook. That's cope. It's because he openly said on his Facebook to kill your local MAGA after Trump got into office, advocating for violence and the death of all those who he politically disagrees with. It wasn't liking posts at all. And this quote-unquote journalist just flat out lied to save face for Activision Blizzard. This is why you lose, and this is why you will continue to lose." And he posts 3 images displaying exactly how this author lied by omission to push an agenda forward. The entire framing of his ridiculous article tries really hard to say what the employees in question are, the real victims here, despite them being the ones pushing their own broken rhetoric and excluding anyone who doesn't ally with their own worldviews. This is how they've succeeded in claiming the game industry for the better part of the past decade or so. But people are waking up to it, and they aren't having it anymore. Hudson claims that someone who works with us has no problems doxing people. It's a transparent attempt to create outrage and an immediate move to distract from the actual content from the leaks themselves, something they're trying to move the goalposts away from so people don't notice that the unhinged messages that are being written here internally have gotten out. And of course, it goes without saying, I do not condone the doxing or harassment of any employees that I ever talk about on this channel or anywhere. That's not the point of this. The point is for transparency, to let people who are purchasing their games understand who they're buying their games from so that they can have a more well-informed decision when they get to the point of buying said game. The real issue with all of this is DEI has gone wild. At the heart of the situation, the undeniable truth is that DEI has become an unchecked force in the gaming industry, pushing an agenda that prioritizes ideologies and cult-like echo chambers over a merit-based industry. The leaked messages perfectly illustrate that Activision Blizzard employees are far less concerned with making great games and way more focused on trying to ensure that their political beliefs become part of, if not all, of the corporate policy. This is exactly the kind of unchecked behavior that whistleblowers and leakers continue to expose, because there are some very based good people working at these game companies that are sick and tired of these woke ideology-driven nonsense. Crazed lunatics, unhinged people coming into work every day trying to get more and more people to think like them. It's kind of an awkward work environment. That's why so many people have been reaching out to me saying, hey, this is what's happening here. Here's a heads up. We're hopeful that it changes for the better, but it won't change without anyone talking. The most damning part of all these leaks, Activision leadership, including the company president Rob Kostic, who I talked about on a live stream the other day, who is fully on board with this ideological behavior. According to the leaks, Kostic reassured employees that DEI programs will continue under the inclusive growth team, despite the controversy and backlash from gamers buying their games. This should tell everyone that Activision Blizzard is far more committed to ideological conformity than fostering an environment that welcomes all gamers, regardless of whatever political beliefs they might have, which is honestly the craziest part about all of this. How someone could take the standpoint of, I care more about this ideology instead of caring about the games that are being made. Goes to show that some of the people working behind the scenes at these companies are more activists than game players. Francis's article is a textbook example of modern games journalism. He selectively frames events to fit his ideological agenda, while at the same time avoiding any kind of real discussion about the harm being done by these employees. Instead of asking why Activision employees feel so emboldened to enforce their own worldview of the company to everyone else, Francis instead focuses on blaming far-right X-users for daring to bring these conversations to light. And all I gotta say is, if that's the approach you're taking, you can get the hell out of the video game industry, because nobody is having any of that anymore. This is the same style of games journalism that ran defense for Sweet Baby Inc., the narrative studio that has been pushing a woke propaganda into major releases, destroying nearly every game in their wake. Now, the same script is being applied here. Anyone criticizing the initiatives is labeled immediately as far right, a label that is now, like most everything else these activists do with words, has lost all meaning, while the actual offenders behind the scenes claiming harassment and safety concerns, because won't anyone think of the crazed lunatics working at these companies instead of what they're actually saying? Francis's article is nothing more than a biased attempt to try and defend the indefensible. The employees exposed in these leaks weren't targeted for who they are, they were just exposed for what they were saying. Leaks and whistleblowing have always and will always be a necessary check against corporate corruption, and in this case, it's no different. The only difference, I guess you could take out of this, would be the journalists that are, instead of actually covering the games industry the way it should be, are falling back on being the activists they always were and taking the standpoint of, oh, the other activists at these game companies are just like me, so I need to protect them, and come up with some sort of narrative that would make sense, and hopefully I can spin it that way so that people don't get mad and get rid of these people in the industry when they find out who they really are. Gamers have been waking up to the reality that the industry isn't being run by people who care about games. It's being controlled by activists who see gaming as just another tool for their ideological agenda. And as long as journalists like Bryant Francis continue to run cover for them, it will only get worse. That's why people really hate people like me, Yellow Flash, Hypnotic, 8-Bit Eric, Vara Dark. I mean, I could go down the list of all these channels that continue to expose what's happening behind the scenes in the game industry. And we have a voice now, and they can't stand us because of it. Think about that for a second. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. I will link it in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
They do things. This one runs her little bakery. Needs to make biscotti. And if you don't let her, she'll scream.
Smash